Greetings from Marketplace Simulations. This is Ernie Cadat. I am the author of the Marketplace Simulations. I'd like to welcome you today to this intensive webinar. This is going to be a hands-on experience, and the goal is to give you experience in using Marketplace in an online class. So the title of the webinar is Delivering Marketplace Simulations Online, a hands-on workshop. And the emphasis is going to be on the hands-on. It's going to be a lot of doing, where you are working in teams with people who you mostly will not know, and working through one of our simulations, the first 3 decision rounds. And so you're going to experience a lot of things that the students will experience when you put them into teams, since they cannot meet face-to-face either. We'll also give you some experience working with coaches. We have a number of coaches standing by who will serve in the role that you would play in working with your students. And so you'll be able to see the whole process over the next 4 hours. So the idea is that all of us are now working remotely. And as I said, at the hub of all this is Marketplace Simulations, which allows all the participants on a team and in a class to be connected, including yourself as the instructor or coach. It gives you a way to connect with your students, to see what they're doing, to evaluate their performance. And again, if you can tie this together with some video conferencing or even telephone, you can stay connected and be able to have meaningful conversations and offer meaningful guidance with your students. The agenda for today is that we'll start off with a few quick facts about Marketplace Simulations. We'll identify our challenge for today, the same challenge that you face. I'll introduce the game scenario. Then we have a team of faculty who will role play the first quarter in our Marketplace simulation. Then Gary Lewis will tell you about some of the key features of Zoom in particular, but similar features are available in other like tools. And then we're going to shift and actually get you involved, where we will put you on teams, and you'll work as your students will work, and you'll have experience with a coach who will visit you from time to time. And the last thing we encourage you to do is schedule a tour with our support staff who can give you additional detail. I'm really happy to say I looked at the people who have signed on and who registered for the webinar, and they represent quite a diverse group of people. Many of them are current Marketplace users. They work with their students. We also have more than half that have very limited experience or no experience with Marketplace, and a whole bunch of people who have not taught online yet. So the diversity of the group is really quite large, and that'll represent a challenge, the same kind of challenge you'll face, but I'm really confident that we will work our way through this. Some things may take a little bit longer, but with a certain amount of patience on your part and our part, you'll find that this is all very doable. So some quick facts. For those of you who don't know much about Marketplace, we have simulations that last for 20 minutes, a few hours, a few weeks, or even an entire semester. And if you like, at the end, we will have some open time for conversation, and we can talk about all the options that are available to you. But they can be used with undergraduates, MBAs, and executives. We cover really all of the disciplines that you might imagine. Students can play individually, and they usually, what this means in most cases is that they'll be playing against computer-generated competitors. A form that we strongly encourage, even in this day of online classes, is that they play against classmates. This is really a lot of fun, and it's very energizing. As you will see, is that Marketplace represents kind of the ultimate in experiential learning, in that the students are working on a serious problem that takes them a fair amount of time to work their way through, and there's a lot of details to sort through. They have to apply a lot of what they have been learning. They're learning as they're going, and so there's a lot of experiential aspects to this whole process that also gives you an opportunity to play a different role, and that is to be a coach. If you think about the word instructor and teacher, it's all about giving information. As a coach, you're really helping people resolve dilemmas, see things that they can't quite clearly see, explain things that they may not understand. And so you do a lot of what we might call chalk talks with your students, whether it be individuals or teams. And this is really the fun part of being a professor, all right, is being able to help your students grow. What I like to do is give you a short video for those of you who are not familiar with Marketplace.
Welcome to Marketplace Simulations. We provide business simulations for undergraduate and graduate college courses. Simulations are digital game-like exercises that give your students the opportunity to learn by doing. Concepts come to life when students make business decisions for themselves and compete against each other in the safety of a virtual environment. Marketplace has been a leader in higher education simulation learning for more than 30 years, currently used in over 600 schools worldwide. In our simulations, students will start up a company breaking into a new market. They'll develop a business strategy, analyze market data, launch products, grow and manage a global business empire. Students test ideas and learn from the results, maximizing the bottom line. Our instructor dashboard is full of tools and resources to support you and your classroom. Set up a new simulation in just a few clicks. Easily assess student performance and monitor decisions real time. Automated grading and world-class support mean you spend more time focusing on your students. With over 30 simulations ranging from marketing to entrepreneurship to strategy, and from core to capstone, we have the right one for your course. If you're looking to introduce a business simulation to your classroom, just visit us at marketplacesimulations.com.
To give you a little bit more background on Marketplace Simulations, we have over 900,000 students and business professionals who have been trained with Marketplace. You can see the distribution of where they come from, and hopefully you find yourself in one of these bubbles. But it gives you an idea of the widespread distribution of Marketplace throughout the world. We also have a number of strategic partners. They include the Harvard Business Publishing. They have adopted a number of our simulations and offer them through their portal. And that gives you a good indication of the quality of the work that we have put into Marketplace and the recognition that it has by leading institutions. We've also partnered with Western Governors University. This is an entirely online university, and we have helped them create a capstone undergraduate core course, which would come after they've completed all of the fundamentals in all the disciplines, and also a capstone MBA course. And the bulk of the course really revolves around one of our marketplace simulations. What's really quite unique, but typical for Western Governors University, is that it involves very little instructor involvement or evaluation. Everything is pretty much automated, and we're looking at several thousand students a year. So if you are interested in that level of activity in online learning and using LMS, that's also something that we have a lot of expertise in. Another area that we're really quite proud of is a strategic partnership with Conscious Capitalism, Inc. Conscious capitalism is let's say, more enlightened way of viewing a business, and that the business is not only about making money for the stockholders, but there are many stakeholders that are also important, whether they be employees, well, obviously customers, the community, all right, the environment. And this is a picture of a training program we did at Monterrey Tech in Mexico. And in the center is Raj Sisodia. He is the spiritual leader of Conscious Capitalism. You'll see me on the right, and Bindu Agawa is on the left. Bindu is one of our coaches for today. And I can highly recommend Conscious Capitalism to you in just about any capstone course that you might like to employ a simulation. So let's shift gears, get into the purpose of today, the challenge that we have. This is an old Chinese proverb, and I usually give this quote with my students, but it really applies today. That is, I listen, I forget, I see, I remember, I do, I understand. And I often recite this with students before they get started in Marketplace because it's highly relevant, but it's also highly relevant to all of you today. If you think about it, we can tell you how to run a class with Marketplace online, and you'll forget 90% of everything we tell you. We can also show you, which we will do, and you will remember. You're going to be doing everything, and that's so you will understand and be able to do it yourself. So this Chinese proverb applies to us today. And it's learning by doing. We will make mistakes, all right? That is just the way it is. And even when you go online the first time or the first time with Marketplace, things will not work out quite so smoothly. It actually never works out smoothly in the classroom either, but it kind of folds into the environment. It's much more visible in an online environment, but it really just takes a certain amount of patience and willingness to try things. And everybody is really quite forgiving. So it will work quite well. But the whole idea of learning by doing kind of goes back to the theory of experiential learning. A baby, as illustrated here, is learning about the environment and the faucet on a hose. But if you watch a baby is constantly experimenting with the environment, everything around him or her, and discovering and learning and continually growing. And we do that our whole life. And that applies to running a business or running a simulated business, in that you use all that you know, all that you've been taught, and you put it to work and you make the best decisions you can with the information and knowledge that's available to you, and you go out into the business world and you try out your ideas. you'll find that some things work really well and other things don't. And it requires some analysis and reflection to try to figure out what went wrong and what went right. And that causes your knowledge to evolve and to improve. And then you go back out and you try it again. And just like this baby here, I don't think she'll do that twice, but it's part of the learning process. And that applies in business as well. You try things, you will make some mistakes, and you will get better because you are continually evolving what you know and what you understand and how do you apply it. And that's really how you are learning. And with Marketplace, it's just like a flight simulator where you have that opportunity to do things without a lot of risk, perhaps some disappointment, but not a lot of financial risk in the process. So let me introduce you to the game scenario. Those of you who are current customers, you know this, but we have a number of people who are not familiar with Marketplace. You're going to be playing a game which we call the Intro to Marketing. It's a introductory level simulation that's often used in a core marketing course. We have more sophisticated versions, as I've said, that'll take you into all the disciplines at a high level, take you into capstone courses. But we're going to start with this simulation because it's fairly easy to operate and navigate, and the concepts are manageable, but they will be very illustrative to you in terms of how to do these things. So with the story, you work for a large international bicycle firm. Corporate headquarters wants to enter the 3D printed carbon fiber bicycle business. And you are charged with determining if this is a viable market opportunity. All right. So you're heading up a new division within this bicycle company, and you'll be selling 3D carbon fiber bikes. Now, if you are a biker or you've been paying much attention to people who bike, carbon fiber bikes have been around for a number of years, and you'll find that they're very expensive. They can cost $10,000 or more. An inexpensive one would be $5,000 US. So not very many people can afford them, but there have been improvements in 3D printing, or additive printing as it's called, that you can build things to specifications. You can change the design in any way you want, from one, let's say, bicycle to the next, based on the needs of the customer. And you can tailor a bicycle to every single customer. Another innovation is the carbon fiber. There are tremendous improvements recently where this material has gotten down to a material that's just as inexpensive as the socks you might wear if you were exercising. Quite literally, it's the same material. And you'll be competing against other international firms that are testing the market at the same time. There are three market segments. The recreation segment is, as the name suggests, these are people who are out riding a bike in a casual way, probably with family members and friends, and they are on bike trails. And it's not too rugged of an environment, and their requirements are simpler than many others. They're interested in safety, comfort, all right, low price, and these kinds of things. And they won't pay a lot of money. Now, they'll pay more than what they would pay for a metal bike, but among the three segments we have here, they are the most price sensitive. You also have the mountain segment. These are people who like to get off-road. They love the challenge of biking and bouncing over roots and rocks and avoiding trees and going down hills at incredible speeds, and the struggle to get up those hills. And they need a very rugged bike, and they'll pay extra for it. At the top of the market is the speed segment. And these are people, as the name suggests, they like to go fast. They buy road bikes, those very those bikes with very thin tires that you see. And the people who want a road bike of this caliber, they want to be going fast. They want something that's aerodynamic, something light, all right? And they like a certain amount of gee whiz and esteem in the bicycle that they ride. And they'll pay the most for a carbon fiber bike. To your right, you'll see the 4 test markets that you will have to go out and see how the market responds to having a more economical carbon fiber bike. And so you can open up your test stores first in one of those markets, and then you can add the others over time as you gain experience. And the idea is to judge whether this is going to be successful or not. A really great aspect of 3D printed carbon fiber bikes is you don't need to fill a bike store with 100 bicycles. This is a friend of mine, Kelly, in his bike store. If you look around, you can see there are a lot of choices, and that's because you have a male and a female version, you have a child version, you have the recreation, mountain speed bikes, you have touring bikes, all right, you have a good, better, and best. You add all those things up, and you could have 100 bikes, and then you have to worry about size. We're all different. In contrast, the store of the future is a showroom, and that's where you put models out of the bikes that you're offering to sell. And I'll show you with my cursor over in this area is a fitting area where you are fitted to the bike that's perfect for you based on your weight and your shape, all right, and your skill level. They will design a bike that fits you perfectly. And within a few days, it will be made for you, and you can pick up that bicycle. All right. Now, there are a lot of advantages to 3D printed carbon fiber bikes. Right, the bike is lighter than a metal bike, so it's easier to pedal. It's more comfortable because carbon fiber will dampen vibrations. Just it has a certain amount of flex to it, and as a result, that means you will have less fatigue, more comfort, and the fact that it's built just to your specifications. So it's not a bike that's a little too big or a little too small, a little bit too heavy, and these kinds of things. You also feel really more energized because you're not working as hard and you're more comfortable. These bikes are much more affordable because they run in the, around $800 to $1,200 to $1,500 dollars or euros versus $10,000. And so even though they are pricey, what's really nice is that you get to have a cool, great bike that is really nice to look at and nice to ride. There are some really important business advantages to 3D printing. So you don't need such a large production facility because you're really making the bikes to order. That also means you will not have inventory. You don't have storage of the inventory. That saves a lot of money, which reduces the debt and equity requirements. And you don't have all those distribution facilities. The bike shop can be smaller, therefore less expensive, but very aesthetically pleasing. And from a business point of view, what is also attractive is that a customer who goes into Kelly's shop may not find a bike that he or she wants. And it's not unusual to visit 2 or 3 stores before you get the bike that is perfect for you. But when you can design a bike to your specifications, you're much more likely to purchase from that store. So it means that you're not going to lose so many customers. The normal chronology of all the marketplace simulations, they start with a startup phase where the students will learn the business. You'll go through that. And after studying the market research and what your costs are going to be, you'll develop an initial strategy and go into the market to test it and see how the market responds. And as I've indicated, some things you'll get right and some things will not work the way you had hoped. But that's not unusual in that how many of us have started up a bike company or opened up a bike store or are all that knowledgeable about all the details of bikes and how to advertise them and price them and these kinds of things. And we don't know anything about our competition. So after the startup phase, we traditionally will have a transition phase where I'll ask my students and you to stop and reflect on your experience so far. You now have an idea what the market's like. You have an idea what the competition is like. You have a better sense of what it's going to take. And in this transition phase, we provide additional funding so you can grow the business, invest in new technology, and open up more sales outlets. Now, there's an opportunity here for a grading exercise. It could be as short as a memo or a reflection or a marketing plan or a business plan. It could be presented or submitted in writing. So there is a grading opportunity here. After this pausing and reflecting and planning, the idea is to implement that plan and roll out your strategy into the market with all the tactics that you had developed. And again, there will be more surprises, different surprises, a lot of them coming from your competition. And you'll need to adjust and adapt to these unforeseen problems and opportunities. At the end of the exercise, we usually have some kind of an accountability. We use a balanced scorecard that measures your performance across a number of metrics like financial performance, your market shares in your target markets, and how happy your customers are with your products and advertising. And we rank you against all other competitors in that game that you are participating in, as well against everybody who has ever played this. And so we will use that to automatically assign grades. Again, there's an opportunity here for some kind of grading assignment. You can have a reflection on what the experience has been, a more formal assessment. It could be in writing or in a presentation, and where you would reflect on the entire experience and what you've learned from it. Now, we're only going to go through the startup phase. You're welcome to continue playing if you wish, but we're going to take you through the test market phase. So at this point, I'm going to turn this over to a team that is going to play the first quarter marketplace online. So I'm going to stop sharing and turn this over to Mary Hannah and her team.
All right, thank you everyone for meeting with us today. Bindu is in charge of our brand management. Paul has been looking at our analytics, or has been doing analytics for us and research. And then Reno is in charge of sales management. So let's look at what we need to complete for today. Today, we need to come up with a company name. We need to analyze our market, figure out which type of segment we want to target first. And then we already defined our responsibilities. And so the last thing we will need to do is figure out where we want to open our first store. So I'm going to hand it over and let Paul walk through what he found out about our target segment.
So you can see, like, if you add up recreational market and mountain and speed, all those markets sum together. Like, for example, like recreational market is the largest one, as all you see. Also, and this is the biggest market. However, it's a little bit, like, as you see, that it's a little bit like kind of the lowest segment in terms of cost, but I would suggest recreational. Because is that I checked out the customer needs over here. Based on the customer needs, based in my market research, and compared to the level of technology we can apply to the current bicycle we can create, is actually like a mountain and speed segment is not really approachable. So like recreation is a first segment, definitely. It's not just based on technology, but based on the size of size of the market potential. Also, when you see the price willing to pay, I just calculated the price willing to pay. Also, the net cost, the net cost of the bike per bike, and I mean, even though it's a 900, but we can have over 20% profit if we can create over like 300 by 3 if we can sell it out. So this is a very nice market to start. After that, we can expand our market from recreation to mountain. So I would strongly suggest recreation as our first target. That's a good starting point for us.
Okay, thank you for doing all this research for us, Paul. Bindu or Reno, do you agree with doing recreation first and then moving into mountain?
Yeah, I think it's a good choice.
Yeah, I also think recreation might be probably the easiest segment, the less demanding segment to since we are in a learning phase and we're trying to grasp how these customers behave. It'll probably be the easiest and the lowest risk segment to give this a try, and then moved into the more demanding segments of the market. So I would vouch for recreation as well.
Sure.
I think that's a really good point you made, Reno. So yeah, I would have to agree. We should do recreation first. Do we want to go ahead and make mountain our second priority, or do we want to hold off on that?
I would suggest mountain as our second priority since we need to expand our market. So I suggest it.
So, let's see. We are not able at this time to choose a second priority. So I
that's
think
not
we just
expected.
Yes, we'll just wait until we get our research or our data back from this quarter, and then we'll make a decision next quarter, which, I mean, because you never know, it may change and we want to do speed instead of mountain as our second priority.
But with this error, I presume, Mariana, the virtual auditor of the simulation is suggesting us to stick to the first segment and to get back and get to know the market before committing to a strategy at this early point in the game.
Got it.
Yes, and I think that's good that we hold off, and that's going to give us that message. All righty. Let's see. Reno, do you want to go ahead and tell us where you think we should enter the market with our first store?
Yeah, let me give it a try to the screen share to see if it works for me. I'm gonna. Would you like if I'm unable to screen share, then most likely I'll get back to you, Mariana, so you can guide me to your.
Sounds good.
To your screen. Do you see my screen now?
Oh, I can see that.
I'm glad it worked.
You can. Oh, works for me. Right. Okay, so let me get in now. Following the taskbar, as we've gone through, we've gone down to the task list, and now I'm going to go to sales channel and take a closer look to the market potential guide that we were just looking at by evaluating the different segments. I'm now going to focus on the 4 cities that we are considering entering, and you can see what I've done is I've added so more or less the potential of each of the cities in all the 3 segments. Even if we're attempting to enter one first, eventually we might diverse into the other one. So the market potential might be I would suggest to look at it as a whole unit and see what we can expect for entering any of those markets. And I've added the total potential bikes of the different segments. I've come to the I've come to the numbers of around 16,000 for New York City and Amsterdam, and then in the range of 11,000 for Bangalore, and probably a bit lower than that, 12,000 or 11,000 for Rio de Janeiro. In the case of the stores or the cost of the selling points, if I there see that the cost, the highest expensive, the more expensive office it belongs in New York City, which is 72,000 per quarter. It's followed by Amsterdam 54, and then the lowest one will be Bangalore at 13,000, and then Rio de Janeiro is closer at 17,000. So that means that most likely for a trial test, if we go back and looking at the volumes, if you look at Bangalore, close to 12,000 units, it'll be probably a sensitive tryout to test this market in Bangalore. So we don't have to spend a lot of money into the cost of the office and still get a pretty decent volume if we're able to enter recreation and then move to the other markets. So probably my first pick would be Bangalore. It seems lower cost and less risky for testing this market up.
I think that would be a good option, especially since we're really wanting to learn the market before we invest too much. So I think Bangalore would be a good market entry place where we still have the potential for a high volume amount of purchases. So I think this would be a good market entry store location.
Any feedback from the rest of the team?
My suggestion would be what if we consider the highest number of demand or expected demand in Amsterdam, because this is the segment which we are targeting. Can we think about it?
Yeah, I think that Amsterdam would definitely be my second best choice, and probably if you look at it, the additional 1,000 bikes that we might get out of the recreation market, of course, we're not going to be able to sell the whole market. If we can get perhaps this additional share in the market of Amsterdam, might be able to pay off the cost of the office. So we will need to sort of work out a business case to see if the additional volume could compensate the additional cost. So, but answer as well.
Do we think a lot of people will go into Amsterdam first since it has a higher potential? So do we think it would be good to potentially do Bangalore, so maybe not as many people will go there first?
I didn't get that well. Come again, Marianne, may I help, please?
With Amsterdam, I'm concerned a lot of people may try and go, like, put a store there first since it has the higher market potential with 6,830 compared to the 5,892 bike demand. So I'm thinking maybe Bangalore may be the better option because there may not be as many people entering the market in that location.
Yes, it could get saturated first. I agree.
I agree also. Okay, so go ahead with Bangalore.
Okay, are we happy with Bangalore then?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Great.
Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to go into the page and click modify and assume the 13,000 for the opening of the Bangalore office, and then click save. Okay, my changes have been saved, so we're good.
Good.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I'm turning my screen back to you, Marianne.
Okay, sounds good. Bindu, do you want to share yours so we can do the company name, come up with the company name now that we know our target segment and where we're to enter the market?
Yeah, I'm just sharing my screen. I hope everyone can see my screen now.
Yeah, looking good.
Okay, so on the basis of the discussion, a primary discussion among the team members, it seems that we are quite positive and we are quite hopeful that our startup is going to perform very good. So as we are into the new market of the carbon fiber bike, so I would like to propose 2 or 3 names, and I would like to have your opinion on each name. So first name I would like to propose is My Bike. So which is quite customized kind of impression we give to the customer. Okay, they can relate themselves with the company name, and it's a small name which they can remember easily. And second, I would like to propose a future tech bike, which is telling them about how they are going to associate or select a product which is very much tech oriented and future technology based product. And if you all agree, then I would like to propose the third name of the company can be the Carbo Bikes, which is reflecting the latest cutting edge technology of the carbon fiber bikes, which is a new invention or innovation in the market of the bike. So these are the 3 proposed names from my side. I would like to have the opinion of the team members.
That sounds very interesting. I really like all those 3 names, but I mean, I prefer future tech best because that's much easier to understand in terms of the global market, and it's very easy to. I mean, that sounds like a kind of like a kind of cool name, that future tech. It's easy to pronounce, so I really like it.
Okay.
I think I agree with that, because with the My Bike name, we aren't sure yet if our initial target segment is going to be a segment that really wants to customize their bikes a lot. So if we did My Bike, that may limit us to one segment. So I think if we do future tech or future carbon tech, whichever one it was, then that will give us the ability to kind of figure out which segment we truly belong in, and it'll still be a name that can fit all of the segments.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good idea.
Good,
okay.
Good.
I do like having the word future on the company name. Future means that this is where the market is going, and this is what we can expect. So future, I understand, should be a must in the name. Whether we, I do like also perhaps we'll be missing the word carbon if this particular material is becoming trendy and having a stardom with the as a key player in the evolution of that market. So maybe future carbon tech doesn't sound bad to me, but future tech bikes I would endorse as well.
I totally.
That's great that we are agreeing on this future tech bike. So as I go to the company name, then just click the modify and then write the company name here and just go to the save button. And our company name is Future Tech Bike.
Looks great.
Thank you, Bindu.
Welcome, Hannah.
Alrighty, do you want to stop sharing your screen and I'll share mine and we can wrap up Q1?
Sure.
Alright, so here is our summary of decisions from Q1. Here we have all of our responsibilities, which we had already decided on. Our initial, our primary segment that we're targeting is recreation, and then we're going to open our first store in Bangalore. We are in the clear. We do not have any errors. So I'm going to submit our decisions if y'all are good with it.
There we go.
Alrighty.
Yeah, go for it. Great.
Sounds good. I'm excited to see our results so we can
go
into Q2 time. Alrighty. I'm going to hand it back over to you, Ernie. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Very good. That was great. I appreciate the team letting us be the fly on the wall and see how you do things. And just so you know, this was Mary Hannah Flesh, who's in Georgia, the southern part of the U.S., Paul Choi in South Korea, Bindu Agarwal in India, and Reno Senior in Dominican Republic. So here you have people all over the world working together, and you ought to be able to do that in your hometown or your country, wherever you are. You can see there's a certain amount of challenge, but once you get the flow of it, it works really quite well. And people can share what they're looking at. They can navigate for themselves. They can point people to the things they want to learn to share. So in terms of thinking through the process and coming up with a reasoned choice. So that what they've done is shown you what will happen in your first quarter of play. So what we'll do now is I'll have Gary Lewis, I'll relinquish the screen and turn it over to him. And what he will do is show you some of the key features of Zoom or RingCentral that we are using. So Gary, the floor is yours.
Morning, everyone. My name is Gary Lewis with Marketplace Simulations, and we're going to be talking a little bit today about what the back end of presenting to your class is going to look like. The example that we're using today is Zoom. It's actually the same meeting that we're on right now. I want to cover a few different points. First, I want to cover how you get logged into Marketplace Simulation. Now, I know that a lot of you already have Instructor accounts and have been logging in. So what we're going to be discussing today specifically is how you are going to log into the exercise that we are going to be doing today. And I'm actually going to show you that here in just a sec. The second thing that I want to cover is inviting your class to a video conference. Then after that, I have a couple of videos that I want to share with you that are actually from Zoom's website. Zoom has a lot of resources on how to do all of the different things that you need to do in a meeting, like sharing your screen, creating and managing breakout rooms, and doing polls. And we are going to watch those videos. I will also be sending you this information in an email afterwards so that you have this. Before we get started, though, I want to show you what the polls look like. And this is both an example of what it's going to look like from your student side, and so that you can see setup-wise what it will be. I'm going to launch the poll right now. This is multiple choice, and this is going to let me know about what the experience of the room is. You should see the poll now. It is going to ask you some questions about how comfortable you are with Zoom and how much you've used it. Now, as you'll be able to see in the video here in just a sec, I can actually see live as you are entering in your choices. Here in just a moment, I will end this poll. You can select as many of these as you want. We're getting some really good numbers in here. I actually get to see how many people have voted out of the total number of people here and what percentage have chosen each one of the answers. Again, we'll get to see this from the instructor side here in just one moment. There we go. And I don't want to take too much time on this, so I'm going to go ahead and end this poll. But it looks like that most of the people here have some experience sharing their screen, which is great. We'll take a look at this when we reach that point, but I wanted you to be able to see what this looks like for your students, that creating polls do exist, and you can actually do this on the fly if needed. Now I'm going to switch my screen share over. We are going to look at the first point here, which is how to get logged into Marketplace. And what I've done is from the game.ils world screen, this is where you get logged in. You will come to this page. I'm sure several of you are familiar with this. This is the page that you'll see after you log in. For today, we are going to be going up to the account button here in the top right. We're going to be clicking on My Accounts, which is the very first choice, and then we're going to be clicking on Student Sub-Accounts right here. And you'll be joining the team that you have been assigned to. We've already started uploading people. So you should, once we reach that point, you should be able to very easily get in. Again, one more time, just so that everyone is familiar with it, you will go to this account button up here in the top right. You will click on My Accounts and then click on Student Sub-Accounts, and that will get you into your game. Let me switch my screen back over to our PowerPoint presentation. And the smooth transition share is something that we're going to watch in this first video here. You'll have these instructions as well. This is what we just now looked at. First step for getting this done is actually setting up the meeting. If you're not familiar with Zoom, and you'll see RingCentral on these, RingCentral is just the application of Zoom that we use. If you've never set up a RingCentral meeting before, this is a very easy 3-step process. On the first step, over here on the left, you will simply click on Schedule. Once you do, this second screen in the middle will come up. And you're just filling out some very basic information. What do you want to name it? What time and date, and how long is it going to be? One important thing to note here is the meeting options at the bottom. Whether you want to require a meeting password for this, whether you would like to mute participants on entry. Choose the options that you think best fits your needs and your class needs. Once that's done, you just click the schedule button in the bottom, and you will see the screen on the far right here that actually has your copy and paste instructions for your students. It is that simple. The screen sharing has a couple of different layers to it. This video is one of the videos from Zoom's website that I mentioned earlier, and it's going to discuss screen sharing with us. It's only about a minute long. Let's go ahead and watch it.
In this video, you'll learn how to share content within a Zoom meeting. Simply select Share Screen at the bottom of your meeting window to get started. From here, you'll be given various options for sharing, such as sharing your full desktop or an individual application you have open on your computer. You can also access advanced sharing options and the ability to share an individual file from a specific location as well. If you're planning to share content that contains audio, such as a third-party video, be sure to select Share Computer Sound in the bottom left-hand corner to ensure that your participants can hear your computer sound as you're sharing. When you're ready, select Share on the right-hand side. Once content sharing begins, you can always stop the share to stop sharing content.
And stop sharing is just the share button up there. I apologize that that video was cut short. But we can see here some of the resources that Zoom has available. One of the better videos that they have, I think, is this next one, which is talking about how to set up breakout rooms. This is going to be a very important part of what you're going to be doing. Breakout rooms allow you to set individual rooms for your teams to move out into. From the poll I did earlier, I saw that some people are familiar with breakout rooms. This video is about 3 minutes long, and it's going to discuss how we set up a breakout room. Once this is over, I'm going to add a couple of different things about what this means for you in our meeting today.
Video breakout rooms allow Zoom users to easily place meeting attendees into sub-meetings for group discussion, activities, projects, and more. To get started, log in at zoom.us and view the Meeting Settings section. Click to edit advanced settings and make sure that Breakout Rooms is checked. The next time you host a Zoom meeting, you will see the Breakout Rooms button at the bottom of the Zoom panel. While you are sharing your screen, the button is under the More menu. Click here to start using breakout rooms. Zoom will show the number of eligible participants. Choose how many rooms to create and let Zoom assign the participants automatically, or choose to manually assign for more control, as we'll demonstrate here. Create breakout rooms to proceed. Your breakout rooms are now available, and participants are still in the main meeting. Float your mouse over the breakout room to rename or delete the room. Click to assign participants, check their names, and click Assign again. Do this for each breakout room. Your participants are now assigned. If you want to change an assignment, float your mouse over a participant name where you can move the participant to another room or exchange the participant with someone already assigned to another room. When you're ready, click to open all rooms. This will cause your participants to automatically move into their assigned breakout room. The list will indicate that participants have successfully connected when the gray dot turns green. Meeting participants will be prompted to join breakout rooms where they can speak on audio, show their webcams, share screen, and chat as normal. They can also ask for help to send a prompt to the meeting host. Participants can also choose to leave the breakout room anytime to be returned to the main meeting. Return to the breakout rooms list as the host, and you can choose to join any of the breakout rooms to offer assistance. You can broadcast a message to participants, and a banner will be displayed. This is great for instructions or timing announcements. Again, float your mouse over a participant name to move the participant. When you are ready, close the breakout rooms. Participants will have 60 seconds to finish their discussion and will be returned to the main meeting. Open the breakout rooms menu again to quickly reopen the same breakout rooms or to make new assignments. To learn more, visit zoom.us/live training to register for weekly training sessions. Need help? Visit support.zoom.us for 24/7 assistance.
So, what does this mean for us today? The important takeaways from this are when you get into your breakout rooms, you can leave the breakout room at any time by going down to the Leave Breakout Room button in the bottom right. This is how you would normally leave the whole Zoom meeting. But when I assign you to the breakout rooms, the nature of this button changes and it will say Leave Breakout Room instead of Leave Meeting. Your students will be able to drop in and out, and you will also be able to pull them in and out of rooms. As an example, you could use the broadcast feature to say, hey everyone, you have 5 minutes left to complete your assignment. And then in 5 minutes, if they have not already joined, then you can close the rooms and reopen them. You don't have to reassign participants or anything like that. The last video that I wanted to show you here is what the polling looks like from the instructor side. And this is about a minute-long video.
Hey everyone, Farah from Zoom here. On this short video, we're going to review polling for your in-meeting experience or your virtual classroom. As the host, you can see that I already have a polling button built into the toolbar along the bottom. And when I click this, this will give me the ability to launch any polls that I've already set up between world history and US presidents in this example. When I'm ready to launch this poll for my class, I'll click Launch Poll button. And then I'll be able to keep track in real time as my participants are responding to the poll. So we can see here we have 2 questions basically around some of the wars from previous centuries. And we can see as the responses start coming in, I can see 2 out of 7 people have responded. And there's a timer up top too. So I can tell everybody this is a pop quiz. We have 10 more seconds for you to get your answers in. And then once those answers are completed, I can click End Poll. And we'll just go with what we have here. And so I can see that 60% of my class said 1914 for World War I, and that also 60% said Otto von Bismarck. What I can do from here is share the results to the class so they can see what the results are as well. And although this doesn't tell me who answered what, I can pull the report after the meeting has concluded to actually see who in my class responded correctly to the answer. When I click Stop Sharing, I will have the opportunity to relaunch the poll. It's very important to note here that if you relaunch a poll, it starts it from scratch, starts it from 0, and there's no way to pull that report from the first poll that you launched. So please keep that in mind. Now I've pre-created this poll. I've already added it from directly from the website. I'll share the web page here so you can see where you can find polling. From any meeting you've already scheduled, all you need to do is scroll to the bottom of the page to see any polls you've already created. You can edit them here, and you can also add additional polls here. Hope this video was helpful and gets you off to the right foot starting polls with your classrooms or your in-meeting experience. If you have any other questions, please check out our support page at support.zoom.us and have a great day. Thanks.
So this gives you an idea of how you could have polls as part of your class, or even create them while you were in class on the fly using the web page that she mentioned there. That's just your Zoom login page. So That was all I had. Thank you so much. Again, the big takeaways here. In just a moment, you're going to be sent to your rooms. You'll receive an automated invite. This is again to give you an idea of what your students are going to experience if you were currently running a class and you were having them go to breakout rooms. You can leave that breakout room at any time by clicking the Leave Breakout Room. And also things like the hand raising feature will still work. One important note about the breakout rooms is they are considered their own separate sub rooms. So as an example, if the main room is sharing their screen at the time, once you move to your breakout room, you will not be able to see that screen share anymore. The idea of the breakout rooms is that the students could share screens amongst themselves and talk, and that if they needed any help, they could click on the chat button and use the raise hand feature, or pop out of the room, as we saw earlier, ask their question and go back into the room. Thank you so much.
Okay, Gary, thank you. As I was saying, and Gary clearly demonstrated, what we want to do is help you become aware of certain tools and certain procedures that will help you in your online class. Once you do them a couple of times, you'll find that it's really quite easy to set up teams, do polling, put your students, have them go to the team room, reply to questions that they have, step in yourself. These are all the things that we will do over the next couple hours. So enough talk. As I said, you will forget 90% of what we have told you. You'll remember the things that we have demonstrated, and but if you really want to understand and be able to do it yourself, you have to do it. So we're going to do that next. So we're going to have you go through hopefully 3/4 of the intro to marketing game. What we'll do is I'll stop sharing here in a minute, and Gary will move you all to team rooms. Now, what we have done is we've allocated people based on experience. So we've distributed individuals who are current users of Marketplace across all of the teams. We have distributed people who have just a small amount or no experience with Marketplace as well. And then people who have different levels of experience with online course delivery. So you will have a team of people with varying skill levels. We've set up, give you 10 minutes to get to introduce yourself to each other. And I encourage you to share your video so you can see who is on your team. I always find that really nice. When I'm teaching my classes, I like to have my students share their video. It's great for feedback, and also it makes it much more personal. I will ask those who have a fair amount of Marketplace experience to not spoil it for the people who have no experience, and run a meeting. And you wouldn't even necessarily have to be the leader of the meeting, but run a meeting in the same way as what you saw with our team of coaches, and have a good dialogue about choices. Don't just click through and be finished, but go take some logic in the process. Now, after we set aside 30 minutes to work in Q1, it will not necessarily take 30 minutes, as you could see in that role-playing example. But take whatever time is necessary. Talk about your experiences if you get finished before the time is up. We will have a coach visit you in 10 minutes after you started work on Q1. Just to check in and make sure everything is good. So these are experienced coaches. You will actually get to meet 3 different coaches over the rest of the time that we have. And so if you have questions about working with Zoom or about Marketplace, they will help you. At the end of the 30 minutes, the coach will return for a briefing. We will use the broadcast function that Gary talked about. We'll send you an outline for the things that you should cover with the coach. And so we call them executive briefings. We will ask you to reflect on your logic for the choices that you've made. And then at the end of that time, submit. And then we'll have you come back to the main meeting room. All right, and then we'll continue with the second quarter, and I'll give you an introduction to the second quarter. So that's the game plan. And Gary, you want to take over and tell us how things are going to happen next?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and open the rooms now. When I do, you're going to get a prompt that lets you know to go into your room. We are still moving around a few people. So if I pop into your room and say, hey guys, I'm going to be moving you, I apologize. But I will go ahead and do that now. Our communication will be done through the broadcast. You will still be able to use chat to reach any of the hosts. You will not be able to use voice communication. You'll only be able to communicate through voice with the people that are actually in your room. So if you need anything, click on chat and use the raised hand feature or just chat with us, or pop out of the room, ask, and then pop back in. Are we ready to go, Ernie?
Let's do it, Gary. This is the part we've never done before. Okay, we've done it in classes, but with so many scholars, this is a challenge, but we're up for it, and let's make it happen.
All right, here we go. Hi, everyone. You've just rejoined the main room now. All of the breakout rooms closed. So I'm going to mute everyone that's in here right now. Just as a quick wrap up to a point that we were discussing earlier, what I used there was the close room feature. After 60 seconds, whether you have clicked the button or not, this will pull your students back into the main room. So that's what happened to you guys. If you were in mid-conversation, I apologize. We're going to go ahead and keep moving here. As the moderator, you have the ability to both open rooms, which will force everyone into a room, or close them, which will force everyone out of a room. So thank you again, and Ernie is going to continue now.
All right, so what you see in front of you is the instructor view. It identifies all the teams here on the left that are playing. Okay, the green check mark means that that team has submitted their decisions. All right, and in a moment we will advance to quarter 2, including my team. And just one moment. All right, yes. So I can see who is already in quarter 2. Team 6, I think there is nobody in that team now, and Excel Bikes is still in quarter 1. I am, just for purposes of demonstration, I am all carbon bikes, and I thought what I would do is show you how this works. I'm in quarter 2, and this is where we are going to test market. So you're seeing exactly the same thing that your students would see. And you will work your way down the menu on the left. And so we have brand management. We always provide the data before the decision. So in this case, it's the customer needs and wants. When we get to quarter 3, you'll see that is the results of the first quarter of test market. So these are customer needs and wants. My company chose the mountain segment, and so they're interested in a product that's durable, handle rough terrain, able to turn sharply, have some kind of shock absorbing capability. So I will go into design a brand, and I choose here design new, and I need to come up with the name, and this is, I'll come up with the name Mountain Carbon. All right, that'll be my brand name. Now I pick a bike frame. If I pick comfort, you'll see there's a shape of the bike here, the bike frame. If I chose rugged, you'll see how the bike frame changes. If I chose aerodynamic, it would change as well. So that's the fundamental element of designing the bike, is the frame. Off to the right are all the features that you can put into a bicycle. So if you have, you can have a hybrid set of tires that are both road and off-road, or racing tires. When I cursor over the different kinds of tires, you'll see the tires change both in the shape of the bike, and also there's the description to the left. And so if I was designing an aerodynamic racing bike, I would pick racing. Over here is the cost of that component, all right? And I can have different kinds of brakes. Now, I want a rugged bike, so I can choose either a mountain, high grip tires, or a hybrid road and off-road. And I'm going to choose those because I'd like to try to appeal to a couple of different segments. The brakes, standard or precision, or standard disc. And mountain bikes typically have a disc brake. Because I'm appealing to multiple segments here, I'm kind of, my strategy is to maybe pick up some of the customers from the recreation segment. I'll choose a comfort seat. And I'm going to choose 14. I'm going to just do these things quickly. Now, excuse me, that was handlebars comfort. I'm going to choose a comfort seat. And let's see, I'm going to skip everything else and go down to a suspension. All right, so the component costs are shown here, $337, given that particular selection of features. So I'm going to save. All right, and in this quarter, you can only design one brand. You'll see that I cannot design a second one. So the next thing I want to do is price it. So I will look at the market information for a mountain bike. It's around $1,120. And I have to figure out what it's going to cost me. If I sold 100 units, it would cost $513 for each one, $508. When I get to larger numbers, the cost drop dramatically. So I'm going to sell maybe 250 of them. So I'll set my price for it. So I go into price and priority, and I want to make it available for sale. And let's see, over on the right are these quick links, and because I can't remember what the price is that they're willing to pay. So I can see they are willing to pay $1,120, and I want to appeal to both the mountain and the recreation segment. So I'm gonna sell this for $1,500, and I'm gonna put a rebate on it of $35 in order to try to attract people who are a bit pricey. Oops, I made a mistake there. I wanted, what did I say? I want that to be at $1,150. And the price willing to pay again, oh no, I actually priced myself too high. So I need to set that at $1,000. Okay, so what I'm illustrating is how I can navigate here, and I have information that I can consult. So this all looks right. Then I have to design an ad. Again, I can look at the information that's important to them for the mountain segment, and then I'll go in and I'll design an ad. I'm going to mention the mountain carbon bike. I'm going to actually just call this mountain carbon, so it'll be easier for me to keep track. And now these are all the benefits that I can put into an advertisement, and I have to figure out what do I want to emphasize. You can put up to 9 benefits in here, and so I might want to have a picture of I want a picture of a rider on a steep hill. I might want to emphasize carbon fiber quality at a great price. I can go anywhere on a carbon fiber bike. Let's see, have it all. I have my hybrid tires. I've done a price rebate. And okay, I actually have comfort straight handlebar and a tailor-made bike just for you. So I've put 8 benefits in here, and now I can change the order. Now nobody knows anything about my company or my brand, so I'm not going to mention brand name the most important thing. Maybe I'll start off with carbon fiber quality at a great price. Go anywhere in a durable carbon bike. Maybe I'll put, let's see, I'll put special price rebate here. But you can see I'm doing it, and then I can take a look at a preview. And if it's on a billboard, this is how it would appear with a picture of my bike. In the newspaper, all the benefits are listed here, and you can see that I have a picture of somebody, a mountain biker. And so you can preview it, get a feeling for it, and I'll hit save. I only can design one ad, and now I have to decide how often I want to advertise it. I'm in Bangalore, and I'm going to do 6 insertions over the next several weeks, and this is my cost. I can check my ad claims. Everything is good. I had no errors. I go to my sales channel. I have to hire salespeople, and you can hire up to 7 salespeople. So I'm going to hire 6 in total, and then I can give them special training. So I want at least 1 in service. That gives me 5 more. I want to put more emphasis on the mountain segment, so I'm going to take 4 of those salespeople and train them. It costs $400 to train each salesperson, and I'm going to have 1 trained in recreation, hoping I can pick up part of that market. And let's see, I need to pick, I don't have to do this, but I'm going to pick my second store. Using the same logic of our earlier team, I'm going to probably go to a bigger segment. Let's see. So New York has the largest number. It's expensive, but I think I'm ready for that. And I'm going to go into New York next. All right, so I can hit a summary of my decisions, what segment I'm targeting, the features I've picked, put into my bike, the mountain carbon, what I've priced it at. I can check, because if you recall, I actually made a mistake and had priced it at the wrong price. And so this gives me a chance to double check. Here's my ad. And I'm going to go, let's see, I'm going to go into, here we go. I'm going to go into New York, and these are my sales force. So do a final check, no errors or warnings, and I submit. Okay, mountain segment. Okay, so that is the introduction to quarter 2. And what we would like now is for everybody to return to their team rooms and work on quarter 2. All right. So Gary, do you, everybody can just choose to return to a team room, correct?
Interesting question, Ernie. Because I closed the rooms, I will now need to reopen them. So you're going to get the exact same message that you did before. And as an instructor, you will have the option to either have your students freely move in and out anytime they want, or to open and close the rooms as I'm doing. I wanted to show you this method just so you could see at the very end of the first quarter how you can pull the students back into the main room. I'm going to reopen it now. Coaches, because you are currently assigned to teams, you will also get the pop-up saying to join the room.
Yes, and actually we're going to reassign you to a different room. The goal here is to let each team have an experience of a different coach and a different style. So teams, you will have somebody else coming in a little bit to check on you and to do your briefing at the end. Okay.
Okay, so coaches, you can join and then rejoin the main room, please, and we'll have a short discussion. Everyone, I'm sending you to your rooms now.
Okay, all right. Welcome back. And we've been doing really quite well. You can see the, this is what I see as an instructor. And I can see now that everybody except ABC is in quarter 3. I can see the balanced scorecard of everyone. It looks like at this point, Hero Bikes is number 1 in terms of balanced scorecard, followed by Bike 3D and Fun Fiber. My company, All Carbon Bikes, is dead last. Okay. Not so good. I've played this game a couple of times. Of course, I've made mistakes on purpose, so I'll have something to talk about. From the instructor view, a few things. I can see how much time people are spending. If I click here, I can see how much total time each team has spent, and then I can also look at individual players. And this is really very handy for me to know where who's working and who's not working. In a live situation, students will tell me that, well, we were all looking at the same screen and I didn't have to be logged in. I never really accepted that. I think that everybody should be working, even if you're all working together, and that you are responsible for your homework in your functional area, and that even before we met as a team, you should have a good idea of what you're going to have to focus on, maybe even have made some decisions after some analysis. In an online environment, really everybody needs to be logged in. It's about the only way in which it will work. It doesn't have to be, but it's a lot better. Other things I can look at under detailed reports. This gives me a view of how everybody did in the quarter 2, the first quarter, a test market, what their demand is, and you can see, you can compare yourself to everybody else. Several teams have made a profit and others have a loss, and then what the balanced scorecard scores are. All right, and so this gives me a quick overview. I can look at, let's say, some of the decision highlights. I would be interested in brand judgments. And this allows me to see how everyone is doing. Now, these are different teams who are playing. And Fun Fiber, you will not see the results of Fun Fiber because Fun Fiber is in a different game than you are, but they've achieved the highest score so far in the recreation segment. In the mountain segment, there are 3 teams in that segment. None of us have done well, including myself. And then in the speed segment, we can see who's leading. 3 teams are in that. So I can see absolutely everything that the students can see. And if I were to look at the decision highlights for Q2, what this is very handy from a coaching point of view is that I can get a sense of where every team is, what their priorities are, the names of their brands and the price that they charged and their advertising. And if I wish, I can go in and see what a brand is, how it's been designed. So there's a lot of material that detail. If I'd like, I can see where everybody's opening up new outlets, and these things are really, really handy. We have a coaching assistant, and this is telling me the results of Q2, and where somebody has a low brand judgment or low ad judgment, that might be something I should take a look at. So if I was interested in Galaxy bikes, I would find here that the team had a low brand judgment in their targeted segment. They also spent a lot of money on advertising that they probably didn't need to do at this time. And so this would prepare me for an executive briefing with them. And I could look at anybody and see if they needed any particular help. This is my company, All Carbon Bikes. I have a low brand judgment, a low ad judgment, and I have demand that's greater for a non-targeted segment. If you will remember, I was targeting the mountain segment, but I was also trying to appeal to the recreation segment. So I've done a better job of creating a bike for the recreation segment than I did for the mountain segment. So this is really very helpful to you when you are going into a coaching situation. All right. Now, let's see if there were any errors and warnings. Okay. Actually, for Q2, everybody had no errors and warnings, and that was pretty nice. Let's see. Let's go back to the game. Somebody asked me, as an instructor, can I see what the students are doing? Now, what I've just been showing you is kind of like highlights of either results or decisions, which I can use when I meet with the teams, or if I want to send them an information if you're not going to meet with them directly. But I also have the ability, now my company is All Carbon Bikes. I'm going to show you what you would do for Q3, but I could go into anybody and take a look. So if I wanted to go into JRY Inc., I could look at everything that they have. All right. But I'm not going to reveal their strategy and things like that. So I'm going to just go back into All Carbon Bikes, and I'll show you the things that I can see here. All right. So again, you want to work your way from top to bottom. So this tells me that we are getting the test market results. Unfortunately, I have some top concerns. The customer union says that I've targeted a mountain segment, but none of my brands meet the requirements. Now, the customer union is actually quite important because they will recommend any brand that meets their threshold. And without that recommendation, your demand is going to be less. And their threshold is a brand judgment of 70. The International Advertising Federation has a similar requirement, and that they will recommend you if you achieve an ad judgment of 70. So these are things that tell me from the start when I go in that I have some problems, even before I look at any numbers. And under performance report, each of you will have a balanced scorecard. And now in this particular setup is that it's going to tell me how I stack up against the teams that I am competing with. These are computer generated teams, all right, not everybody that's in this webinar. And I'm the all carbon bikes, and the top performance is in the green in each area. Financial performance, wing wheels is better, and marketing effectiveness, they're better. Strata Bikes has the best total score, and market performance in the segments they're targeting quite good. If I switch to weaknesses, I'm not the worst, okay? Dream Bikes is, but I'm second worst in a lot of areas. So I have some problems there. And you can click like on market performance, I can do that. And my market share, my primary segment is 26%, which is the lowest among everybody. I can see my market shares in the, these are against the computer generated competitors. I'm in the blue, I have 14%. And I actually have 13% of the recreation segment, 26% of the mountain segment, which is the one that I'm targeting. But Wheels and Deals is at 58%. I can see my profitability, and so I have my revenues, rebates, cost of good. All my expenses are here. And so this is a summary of all of my decisions, their financial form of it. And you'll see that there's internet marketing expenses. They haven't started yet. So my net profit, taking into consideration all my expenses, I have a loss of 1,646. I can look at my brand profitability, and I'm getting 20% brand profit. And here are all the expenses related to the mountain carbon. This will have more meaning to you when you have 2, 3, 4 brands. And then I can look at detailed brand demand. So I'm interested in seeing how it ranks. And the Easy Rider has got a lot more demand. Of course, they're in the recreation segment. And I'm actually in second in total. In the mountain segment, I'm third. I'm going to skip strategic graphs for the moment. And what I need to do is revise my decisions. So I have brand management. I already talked about this, but I'm in the mountain segment, and I have a 56. It actually has a 67 in the recreation segment. That's because I put features in my bike that would appeal to the recreation segment. So I'm actually doing a bad job of serving 2 segments. So, but Wheels and Deals is not much better than me. I can look at Wheels and Deals, the bear, and compare it against mine. And they have a little better rating than I do. So I want to, they have the mountain tires, and I had the hybrid tires, and I had the standard disc brakes. They had the standard brakes. So both of us could make some adjustments here. And so I would design a brand, and I can actually create a new brand if I wished. So I will create another rugged bike, and it's going to be the mountain carbon. Okay, I ran out of characters, so I'm going to call it the Mountain Carb 2. All right, and actually, I'm going to back up. There's a feature here that I could use, which is copy design to new one. So I have the Mountain Carbon, and I'm going to start with what I had before. I have to rename it. So it's going to be the Mountain Carb 2. These are all the features that I had in the original bike. So I'm going to change, maybe go to a basic straight, and I'm going to add 24 gears. So this will be my new design. Okay, and we'll see how I do. I may actually want to rename this Mountain Carbon and call it a Recreation. Carbon. And let's see if there's anything I would, I changed the frame. Okay. So the same bike, but I changed the frame, and let's just see how that does. Okay. So you can have two brands this time. Now I go into pricing, my price judgment. Mountain Carbon had a price of, it was below the research price. So I got 100%. They loved it. In the recreation segment, it was priced too high. So I'm going to keep that in mind. I can look at my competitors and see what they're pricing their brands at. Okay. The Bear is at $11.20. I'm at $10.50 with a 35 rebate. I look at my cost of production. I have two, let's see, my Recreation Carbon, $395, $520. So I'll keep that in mind. I go to price and priority. And now I have a second brand. And actually, I've reconfigured the original Mountain Carbon. And so I need to think about what price that should be at. And so I'm going to look at price willing to pay for a recreation model. It's $900. And so I'm going to price it at $900. And my revised Mountain Carb, I'm going to, what did I charge last time? So last time I charged $10.50 with the rebate, and I'm going to raise it a little bit because it's a little better bike, and I'm going to make it $10.90 and no rebate. Okay, so I save, and oh yeah, actually I want my Mountain Carbon bike to be in the #1 position. Okay, let's see. Oh, I priced that wrong. Okay, so you see that there's an error here. I made a mistake and I wrote in 1900 as opposed to, it really should be 1200 and save. So it's really handy to have those error messages to keep you in safe space. My ad copy judgment on was the Mountain Carbon for the mountain segment was terrible. I had a 44. And the best one was Wheels and Deals Ad Bear. So I'm going to go in and modify my Mountain Carbon. Now, again, one of the things which I can do is take a look at a competing ad. And so I can compare competitor ads. So let's see, I am, that's me, and just to, if I can't remember, the best one was Wheels and Deals, Ad Bear, and competitor. Okay. So I have, this is really important, this benchmarking, is I can see what that team did. And one of the things that's interesting is I had 8 benefits and Ad Bear only had 5. All right. So I could be guilty of advertising clutter, and I need to keep that in mind. I put too many things in there. So I'm going to modify, and I'm going to change this ad to Mountain Carbon 2, and I'm going to take out some of these things that I put in there. Well, I don't have a rebate. I like that, keep it on a trail. Your head high comfort, I don't want that, because that's not appealing to this segment. And I got to change my tires. I got better tires, so I'm going to take that off. So I have 6 benefits, and the order I think is okay. If I want, I can preview it and just see how it will look. And carbon fiber quality at a great price. That's my hook. So I'll save that. Now I should design another ad, but I'm not going to do that at the moment, just because of time. I can see how much my competitors are advertising. I did 6 insertions. Dream Bikes did 10. So I'm not too far out of the pack. And so I'm going to advertise 6 times. Well, let's see, I'll up it this time, 8 times in Bangalore, and I will do 8 times, but it's more expensive in New York City, and save. I can do internet marketing. So I can create a web page, and I have to say what segment I want it to be reflective of, and I'm going to run a web page, and over here are the keywords that will appear and how my ad, which I one ad, will appear on the internet. Okay, let's check ad claims. Let's see, I have to save. Again, good error checking. I have another error here. Grab the path with high tread tires. Okay, that's not true. So I'll go back to my design, my ad. Mountain Carb 2. And go back. And design. And I thought I had picked, oh no, I guess I didn't. So this just shows you how to keep me safe. I go back to my advertising, check ad claims, voila, I'm good. Sales channel, I can see where everybody else is hiring. I have 6, they're not at that. I'm gonna stay with 6, and I'm gonna stay with my plan. 6, 1 in service, 1 in recreation, and 4 in mountain. And let's see, if I'm going to open up another store, I'm going to go to Rio because there's nobody there. And I will be there. Summary of my decisions, I'm good. So this, as you see, we have various checks that keep me out of trouble. All right, and I should hit final check, no errors and warnings, and I submit. Okay, so my company is ready to go. And I think we are ready to go for everybody. So the plan is that what we would like you to do is take 15 minutes to do an assessment of where you are, kind of like what I did. Determine your strengths and weaknesses. That'll be part of your briefing at the end. And The coaches, they won't come in for a quick check. This time they will just come in for a briefing at the end. And so they will come in at 12:40. So you have 20 minutes to assess your market, what would be needed to be changed. If you have the spirit, you can go ahead and try to make Q3 decisions and submit. But the executive briefing will be based on an assessment of how well you did in your first quarter. So Gary, if you will open the team rooms and send everybody back, you will have a new coach this time.
Yes, I will go ahead and open it. Coaches, you're going to receive the message for your new room, but you do not need to follow that message. You can stay in here for now. And teams, if you will look to chat, I sent you the outline for Q3 in the chat so that you have a permanent history of it. The announcements that I was sending pop up but do not stay. So you have that in your chat log to reference, and I will open the rooms now.
Thank you very much. I'll share my screen. Okay, so you can see the where everybody is standing. Two of the teams have submitted Q3 decisions. We really weren't expecting to be able to get done. That it requires a little bit more time to be thoughtful. Plus, we wanted to do the executive briefing. And in fact, one of the things you can do is, like when I run intensive programs, when they get the results, I'll let the teams know that I will be by in 15 or 20 minutes to hear what their assessment is of how they performed in the previous quarter, and what they see as their action items, and then come back at the end where they'll give me a fuller review of what, upon further analysis and reflection, what did they do and why did they do it. So you are welcome to complete Q3, and we will announce the results. I just thought I would show you really quickly again, as the instructor, I can see what everybody is doing, all right? We see a number of new brands, a number of new ads. This is all that I'm expecting as everybody gets familiar, that they will revise after analysis and reflection. And they may change the original brand, add a new brand. They may take the new brand and target the same segment or a different segment. There's a lot of flexibility. So these things are available to you. And so what I'll do is I'm going to go to my PowerPoint and just give some final reviews. In the meantime, Gary, for those who have submitted, we can process them and we'll see what everyone has done. Okay. So from our point of view, my point of view, this has been quite interesting. I have stepped into 3 team rooms, and I will say that I'm really impressed with how hard faculty have gotten involved and are thinking and strategizing. And a few people have pointed out that the faculty, all of you, are just as competitive as your students. If you feel that adrenaline going, that anxiousness, that eagerness, maybe some anxiety, those are the same kinds of experiences the students are having. And so this is not unusual. In fact, it's part of what fuels the learning process, is getting engaged. The more engaged, the better. The other thing which I want you to reflect on is what did you learn? And I was talking with Ritu there just for a few minutes in between, and she said that she had a certain amount of anxiousness about doing this online, but she's seeing how it can be done. You know, obviously she's not taking care of the team rooms and moving people and sending messages and things like that. But I believe Ritu could see how this process would work, and that in all probability you can do it yourself. So we have a time for a couple of questions before I wrap up. Kelly, do you have any that people have sent you that you would like me to address?
We do have a number of questions that people have asked, and I'm going to pull out some of the ones that seem to be being asked the most common. And so one of them is, can we talk more about how Zoom works within the virtual marketplace classroom? I can let you speak to that generally, Ernie, and then also we can follow up with people about that following this meeting via email too, with more tips and resources.
I'm not obviously we've been trying to demonstrate that. Is there some element that's not clear?
Yes. So yes, and so some of the things that seem to be on people's mind involve how the lecture format in the online context differs from the lecture format in the classroom context, and some of the things that that people may want to be considering moving this online, things that they want to be thinking about in terms of fostering teamwork, motivating students, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, one of the things which I tried to illustrate the lecture with the PowerPoint that I gave, because you would be doing something similar, introducing the scenario and so forth. One of the things which I could encourage you to do if you have an assigned class time, is that's a good time to have team meetings. Typically with Marketplace, the students arrange their team meetings separately, and they work like out of the context of the class. But you may wish to have them get started so that you can pop in and out just like I did, and make sure that they're moving along and they're they're not on other tasks and so forth. I do find that ability to jump into a team room is great. One of the things which I can see is where the students are spending their time, and the ability to call on people by names. It's really nice to have their pictures and their names, and that works really well. It also allows you to make a personal connection with them. Now, I know that you will decide between having an individual play the game, like this is a game that an individual can play against the computer, not require any teamwork. And that has an advantage because you don't have to worry about coordinating teams. The disadvantage is from managing the class, it's a lot easier to manage 5 teams of 5 people or 3 people than 15 or 25 individuals playing against the computer. That is my preferred mode. Also, the competitive juices kick in better when you have a live team of classmates, even if they can't see each other. I think that if you can do the briefings, that also is a strong motivator because you're asking the tough questions and you're keeping them focused and accountable. So, I mean, those would be some of the things that that I would encourage you to do. I think that what I'm hoping you came away with is that this is possible, that you can do an online class and your students can be online, they can be playing Marketplace simultaneously. If there are any difficulties, you have the Marketplace support group. And those of you who have been working with us for some time, you know that they are very responsive to your questions, your student questions. If there are technical questions about Zoom, about Marketplace, please call in. All right. We do have a lot of ways to connect using video conferencing, video chat. My son was using Facebook and talking to all his buddies at the same time. And you can be working on your decisions and video chatting, so you don't have to necessarily share. And we've even had people who have done the same thing by phone. Probably students have a lot of experience in all these things, but you need to apply that experience within this context. I would say we got better over the 4 hours, and your students will do the same. They will get better. You will get better. I encourage you to contact support to schedule a personal tour to help you with the first time that you're doing this. And in closing, what we're all about is engaging students, challenging them, inspiring them, and at the end of the day, transforming them into being good business people. So thank you so much for joining us for this intensive hands-on webinar. We have learned a great deal about how to do this, and hopefully you have learned as well. So I want to say thank you. I want to thank Gary and Kelly especially for making all this work. I'd like to thank all the coaches for jumping in and helping, both in terms of Marketplace, demonstrating how coaches work, and helping with some of the Zoom issues as well.